What up? What up? It's your boy Lightwork. I wanted to jump on here and address. It wasn't a comment on TikTok. It was somebody left a comment or comments on my YouTube channel, and the post was about how God speaks, and that how He could speak through readers. Readers are people who do tarot, um, psychics. And I don't even know who the person is, but the person came saying that God doesn't condone that type of thing. And I asked, I'm assuming it's a her, I asked her for the scriptures. She gave me Deuteronomy 18:9 through 14. And then Leviticus, the scripture she wrote for Leviticus, it didn't even have a book. It just had the verses, the scriptures. So I don't know. Um, However, I did look at Leviticus and what she may have been referring to. So I'm just going to address her comment, and so that people um, are aware and have the knowledge. So the scriptures mentioned that the person mentioned, like I said, was Deuteronomy 18:9 through 14. Um, And these scriptures actually speak to the fact that God was um, warning his people not to become like the people of that land that they were going into. And it was because they were practicing dark magic. They were using dark magic. They were doing sorcery. They were doing all these types of things that God commanded them not to do. So he was just warning his people not to become like those people in the land. And the scripture actually speaks of um, dividing and dispensing of the resources. And so what it's telling us is the person that has the power over the resources uses that power to remain in power. It's just like how we see today, like how the rich and wealthy stay in that power. They stay rich and wealthy. They don't, for the lack of a better word, they don't do things fairly. But when you use that same power, that same energy under the influence of God, um, the resources are not hoarded. The resources are not kept with that one person so that they can keep the power. It's then dispersed equally amongst the people once you use that same power and that same energy under the influence of God. The other fact that I want to make sure people always keep in mind is, as it's highlighted in the text, in the scripture, it's the intent behind how you do things. So if your intent is to harm or do bad, then it is going to be condoned. But if you're using that same energy and that same power with the intent to do good out of love, then it's not condoned. It's very much accepted by God. Um, and so, and I've heard this said before, but when we speak of divination, we're talking about prophecy, right? Which that's what Jesus did. Like, so you're telling me that prof- prophetic word is condoned. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Again, when used in the wrong manner and or for personal gain, it is going to be condoned. It will be perceived as witchcraft, because that's what it is when you have bad intent behind what you're doing. Again, when used with the right intent, in this case under the influence of Christ, it is a gift of the divine. And this honestly all goes back to everyone having a light and dark side. The key is to balance the energies. Like, this is how we get the cross. The cross signifies both the feminine and the masculine energies that need to come into alignment with one another in order to achieve that balance, in order to achieve oneness. And then, because I've seen people just keep throwing Leviticus around, the book of Leviticus is for the priesthood, the priests, the popes, the nuns. It doesn't apply to people outside of that group. It applies to the Levites, who are responsible for the religious rites in the tabernacle. The book focuses on ritual laws and duties of the Levitical priesthood. This is why you have heard about priests and those alike allegedly having, well, I mean, it's not alleged, they have like commercials out telling people to come forward if they have ever been touched, sexually, whatever, by these priests. And this is why, because God has already commanded them not to do these things. But you see it's happening, right? And the laws that God speaks of, this is what he was talking about in Leviticus for these people, for the Levites, the people of the priesthood. And if you don't know, Levi is the third son who is part of the 12 tribes of Israel, who is noted for the rise of the priestly caste of Levites. So I just want to put that out there because I want to make sure that, one, I am putting the information out there, but two, I want to make sure that it's correct and that it's true. So I appreciate the comments in my YouTube channel on that particular post. It gave me some homework, and I'm glad that I was able to look it up and find, the true meaning to those scriptures. And hopefully this helps somebody also understand like the background and all that. You know what I mean? All right, y'all. That's it. That's the message for this post. I may come back a little later and break down my name so y'all can see that. But anyways, y'all be easy. It's your boy Lightwork. Peace.